All right, here we are. Playing this guy. I think I understand why it's taking so long for the matches. Look at my rating. I think I'm top 100 in the world now in Rapid. None of the top guys, none of Hikaru, Magnus, none of those guys play Rapid. So because of that, it's getting harder and harder for chess.com to find me an actual match. Okay, here we play c4. If they play e5, we play e3. This gets really rowdy. This is a position that's covered in my course, if you could believe it. But I can't remember exactly how it goes. Gotta review it. I think this is in Kingside Fianchetto systems, or it's in something. Well, now we play e4. This is a perfect position now. Yeah, bro definitely messed this up. He should have played e5 a lot sooner. If he allows me to play e5, okay, yeah. If he allowed me to play e5, that would have gotten way worse. I'm wondering what to do now. If I let him take, he's gonna play knight c5 and actually get a decent position. We should play d5 here. Maybe, I mean, I would have assumed that I'm much better here, but maybe I need to just be patient and be humble and win with grace and lose with dignity. Because, yeah, I don't see an exact way. I think I have to let his knight into c5, which I don't want. I didn't want to have to do. I could play c5. Look at that move. c5, if he takes, we take here, and we got a big blob of pawns here. But problem with c5 is he takes this way, we take. He takes the bishop, I take the knight, and then he takes here. And that's not good. Yeah, this is interesting. I mean, maybe I could play bishop d3, takes, knight c5. All right, I'm going to go for that. I think it's really critical we just maintain defense of this e-pawn. If I have enough time, I would love to play d5 and f5 just to completely clamp down on the position, but the problem is that d5 too soon is going to allow knight c5. So I had to defend e4 first. Yeah, this is a mess. White definitely can't be worse here, though. I'm probably better, probably a lot better. I think queen c7 was also a big waste of time because his queen might end up coming to b6. Yeah, what am I talking about, actually? I think I'm much better here. I have PTSD of these situations because I've lost a lot of games like them. I remember one really painful loss. It happened in Montreal in 2012 against Joey Chin. Pretty much I just literally hung a piece here. I had a really nice space advantage and then I hung a piece. Bishop c2. I guess he could play bishop g4. Uh-oh. Well, wait, actually, I just played queen d2 here. What's the problem? I could have also played knight f3. Castles, we're going to castle kingside, and then finally, I'm going to play b4 as soon as I possibly can. If we could just kick this knight out, the pressure against c4 is going to evaporate. Bro is in some trouble, actually. Okay, a5, so he's stopping b4, but the problem is now let's push his bishop back. Let's play h3. Where's his bishop going to go? If it goes to e6, he's blocking the e-file. Pretty much wherever it retreats, there's going to be some problem. d7 blocks the queen. What is man up to? What's man on about? Yeah, man, we're just waiting around here. I have nothing to do. I would love to read a book or read a newspaper, but no, I gotta wait for this guy to make a move. Technically, I should be calculating, but I'm not. Okay, here we're gonna castle. Maybe I should be avoiding a4, but I don't. a4 isn't a problem even. I could just play rook b1 and b4 if that happens. Let's castle here. I think this is a really bad position for him, honestly. Yeah, okay, so here I have a few options. I could play b3, bishop b2. That actually looks gorgeous. I feel like the idea, no, I should be playing to push e5 as soon as possible, though. If I push e5, this knight is dead. The only place the knight has to wrap around to is h5, so let's play queen e2 to cover that. Yeah, dude is in a lot of trouble now. Castles e5, takes. He's going to have to put the knight on e8. That is going to be a disaster. My bishops are going to be shining through. Okay, this is, yeah, he's going to lose. You can't let me play e5 in this type of position and get away with it. Knight is getting kicked out. We are gonna have so much pressure. Yeah, this is gonna be a disaster. I don't even know, like, what. Well, actually, yeah, how am I gonna follow that up? That looks like a great position there. Like, objectively, I have to be close to winning, but what do I actually do? How do I get my queen to just threaten h7? I guess I have to play knight e4 there. No, then he takes on e5. Yeah, this is messy. This is really messy. All right, there. That's even worse, because now... Oh, well, actually, okay, I understand what he's doing. I thought that was bad, but actually, no. He's playing this quite well, because this pawn blocks a lot of my activity. Yeah, I gotta be careful here. At the same time, I don't see almost anything for him to do. I should just try to kick this knight out slowly. Like, how is he gonna do? How is he gonna deal with this? Maybe I should play king h1? Sooner or later, this could be annoying. I don't know. I'm not sure if I need to worry about that. Actually, yeah, let's just play king h1. I have nothing to worry about here. If he wants to ever, like, free his position, he's going to have to take here, but that's going to free my attack. Bro's in a lot of trouble here. He ever pushes the f-pawn to try to break, I can play e6. g6 is not really a solution to anything. Well, actually, okay, wait, no, I guess g6 and knight g7, that would make sense. g6, I could probably play f5, though. Takes, f takes g6. H takes. That's a mess. That is an unmitigated mess. Yeah, I'm looking at it now. I have a lot of ideas here. I could even think about playing knight b5 takes and knight d5. That would also be very interesting. So it's forking his queen bishop. He would have to play queen d8 and have his pieces very discombobulated there. I should be playing for f5 as soon as possible, pretty much. He's going to take, though, so I just need to be... Yeah, honestly, I have to time f5 well, but I think f5 is the key to the position. Takes? Okay, well, that's a mistake. Is he going to play g6 here? No, you can't do this. No knight f5. This is a disaster. At least before with his knight on c5, he was going to be able to take here. Oh, yeah, he has nothing. I was just hallucinating. I thought that he could take and then play knight d4, but of course this bishop can't hop over. Dude is in enormous trouble now. I don't even know what he's going to do. If he plays bishop d8, I could just play... Yeah, so what are we going to do here? If we check... Check actually looks great, right? Because takes, I play queen e4, and I'm just going to shoot through here. And look at that now. He played bishop c5, but because I moved my king out of the way, I don't even have to waste time on it. Knight e4 also looks good, but I like knight h6. Look at that. Knight h6 takes. The whole idea of knight h6 is we just want to divert this pawn. If we divert the pawn, then queen e4 is going to decide. Queen e4... Oh, wait. Does queen e4 win on the spot? So wait, knight h6 takes, queen e4. He has to play f5. I take... I can't draw arrows. I take... He plays rook f7. I feel like that's winning, but that is tricky. Did we just start with queen e4? I'm confused. I'm very confused. Yeah, this is tricky. Queen e4, g6, knight h6, king g7. Could also try queen h5. Queen h5, g6. Doesn't really do anything. Knight e4 takes... I don't have any tricks there. This is one of those positions, though, where something just has to work here, though, right? Because I have way too many pieces pointed at his king. There's no way that he's going to survive this. Okay, let's resume knight h6. So takes... I wanted to throw in a check on g4, but the problem there... Well, if king h8, queen f5, it's just the end of the game. But the problem after check is that he could play knight g7. Actually, that's not even the best knight. He should play this knight to g7. Look at that, because now his bishop is out. I would play queen e4. If he plays bishop f5, I could just sacrifice through. He has to play f5. I take. He takes with the knight. I don't know. Okay, knight h6 takes. Queen e4. Yeah, let's look at this. Let's not get fancy. Just keep it simple. Queen e4. He plays f5. I take with the pawn. If he plays rook f7 there, I don't see anything after rook f7. I could also take on g7 immediately. Look at that. Takes on g7. If king g7, we're going to play something like queen g4, queen f5. Problem with knight g7, though, is this knight takes on g7. All right, let's just play queen e4. I'll figure out the rest later. Maybe I had something better. I guess we'll figure it out in the analysis. Man has to play g6 now. I'm going to have a lot of weaknesses still to play on, I think. Yeah, what am I talking about? Just g6, I just play bishop h6. If takes, I take with the queen. I'm going to have mate, and otherwise I must be winning something there. Like g6, bishop h6. I guess he could play knight g7. Yeah, that position isn't that simple. No, I could take with the bishop. He takes with the knight, then we throw in a check and we take. But I'm only winning a pawn there. Yeah, this is a messy position. This is a legitimate mess. g6, I was also thinking maybe just knight h6, king g7. And in that position, his pieces are just so cramped there, but his king had to go to g7 to protect f7. Yeah, that honestly, that looks like the better approach. g6, knight h6, king g7. I feel like there should be some knockout there. That's very close to being a knockout, but I can't find it off the top of my head. g6, actually g6, look at that, queen h4 is much better. Because takes, I just take with the bishop, that's over. Otherwise, with queen h4, what am I threatening? I'm threatening knight e7. All right, I like, well, wait, no, queen h4, he takes on e5. I can't do that. I can't do that. Yeah, we gotta be careful. We gotta keep it simple. All right, yeah, I mean, if I check, he plays king g, like, what am I doing in this position? How is there no mate? Okay, we'll throw in a check. Hopefully something will happen later. If king g7, wait, yo, king g7, I can at least play knight g4. I could also throw in a check if I wanted to be sneaky. But no, he'll just play king h8. That wouldn't accomplish anything. Let's play knight g4. I really wanted to deter him from playing f5 to free his position. These moves look a little weird, but at the same time, I'm just really like focused on keeping these pieces bottled up. If they stay bottled up, we are gonna have a knockout punch sooner or later. If they start getting organized properly, it's gonna take me a lot longer to break through. Okay, so I mean, here we have bishop h6 as a threat, but how is he gonna solve it? Yeah, this is very tricky. Look at that. Now king g8, bishop h6. If he plays knight g7, I have knight f6. That looks like it's only getting worse. It's still not that obvious how I'm winning on the spot, but it's looking way worse. Yeah, this is tricky. King g8, bishop h6. He could play this knight to g7. If I play knight f6, takes. He plays rook e8. I don't have anything there. I guess he could try, yeah, king g8 makes sense, but king g8, what are we going to play there? There. He's doing that. Okay, well, let's play bishop h6. How is he going to defend this? Because if he moves this knight, well, now I can install the knight back on f6. This looks fantastic. Dude is in a lot of trouble here. Queen h4 is a very simple idea, but it looks lethal here. Queen h4, and then I'm just going to take on g7. I don't want to take on g7 first, though. Notice if takes, then knight takes. All right, there. Can't I just play queen h4? He takes, I take on g7, and that's mate. Yeah, what is the deal here? Queen h4, I guess he's going to try knight h5, but no, I just take. Yeah, I'm missing something. Okay, we'll play queen h4 here. I think this is just the end of the game. I don't see what he has here. Knight h5, we're just going to take. Knight e6, I could just throw in a check even. Knight f5, we also just throw in a check. Yeah, this is completely losing. This is a really interesting game. Great bird game. Rook g8, that's an interesting move. I just did not consider that. I do not want to take prisoners. I want to win. I don't want to play this out for 45 moves. Okay, I want to take here. King takes, bishop g5, knight h5. Oh, then we just take. It's pinned. Yeah, it's pinned. I also have rook f7 as an idea. Rook f7 is also cool. Yeah, let's just take here. Maybe, could he take here? No, there's no way he's going to get away with that. There. All right, that's cool, but I just play... Well, what is actually the win here? Let's start by taking... Should I take on f7 first or what? If I play knight f6, he's going to take on e5. How is this guy surviving, honestly? This is a testament to the human spirit. Okay, honestly, what am I doing, though? So knight g5 I like because I'm threatening knight f7, but then knight g5, he takes on c2, I take on f7. That should be winning. This is actually very impressive how he's holding on here. We could definitely take on f7. He takes on e5. I take on d7. He takes on c2. I mean, that position should be winning. It's just all of these positions are pretty much winning. They're just tricky. Knight f6 also makes sense. Wait, knight f6, queen takes e5, knight takes h5, queen takes... That doesn't really work, though. Yeah, what is going on here? Knight f6 takes rook e1. What is this position? That actually, I need to be very careful there. Look at that. Knight f6, queen takes e5, knight takes d7, knight g3, and all of a sudden I'm getting mated. Yeah, we got to be a little careful. All right, knight g5 takes, rook takes f7. Am I hallucinating there? I think I just have threats of rook h7. Wait, why don't I... Oh, this is so tricky. Wait, rook takes f7, queen takes e5. Dude is threatening knight g3 there. We need to be careful. I think knight g5 is the perfect approach. Hopefully this works. If it doesn't, whatever. We'll figure it out later. I got to make a move. He could take here. It's astounding how well he's defending this. All right, there. No, now this is over. We're just going to take, and we're going to take again. And I'm finally breaking through. This is the Raven Sturt story. Photoshop me into that Titanic scene. Right, I don't even know. Like, this is just full stream of consciousness, guys. Like, you know what you signed up for when you clicked on this video. Except for the one guy who's gonna leave a hate comment about how I need to shut up. Yeah, you just gotta strive for greatness with every move. All right, I'm going for checkmate. Let's go to the game review. That was a really nice game. Oh, that's a beautiful graph. Look at that. That is a picture perfect graph. So got this. Yeah, d4 is a classic move, by the way. They can play d5 if they want, but now you have a stonewall up a critical tempo. I really want to assert, like, I really want to emphasize, do not go for the stonewall setup if they've played d5. It's only because he's burning a move on d6 that this is okay here. Knight d7 is technically inaccurate. c4, e3 is best. Maybe I talk about e3. I don't think so. I think I definitely recommend c4. I'm honestly gonna have to double check. I'll double check and put that somewhere down below. But yeah, the whole idea is I remember this type of position here with e5, e3, and this is a wild position here. This is just a very confusing structure. We have a lot of space, but they have good control of the dark squares. Chess.com computer can't make up its mind. This definitely is not better for black, though. I can assure you that. And it's just a really bizarre structure here. But the idea also is that if people don't seize the gauntlet, is that the right word I'm talking about? If people don't throw down the gauntlet immediately by playing e5, then you can just usurp the full center, which is great. So here e4, e5. What am I supposed to play here? Bishop d3? Bishop e3 is best. Interesting. What's the idea here? If takes, we're going to take knight c5. Yeah, this makes a little more sense. We play queen c2 here, and we're going to castle queenside. We have really nice pressure. Yeah. I don't think I got a bad position, though, out of the opening. I definitely think that this is okay. Knight c5 is a mistake. Bishop c2. Yeah. Guys, we have 4 pawns on the 4th rank. They don't even have a single pawn on their 4th rank, which would be this. We have a lot more space here. We should not be trading pieces. Bishop c2, definitely. Another issue as well is that this knight looks good here, but sooner or later I can always kick it out with b4. Like even here he ended up playing a5, but even then, long term I can still kick it out with b3, a3, and then b4. All right, man played bishop g4, queen d2, a5. a5 is a mistake. Interesting. What is he supposed to play? So this is the interesting thing, it looks a little precarious having a center like this, but the idea is just if you can manage to find good moves, you're going to have a +1 advantage. This is very normal for King's Indians and Old Indians and Perks, in which your opponent takes on d4 early and just goes for this pressure against e4 if you're able to maintain everything. Normally it's not +1, but it's like plus 0.7, plus 0.6. It's decent. You're going to get your money's worth. All right, so a5, I play h3, bishop d7, castle. All this looks standard. Bishop e7, queen e2. Nice, I'm proud of that move. It's a very good move. If I move my queen anywhere else, like if we choose queen e1, for instance, now in these positions, his knight can go to h5, and that's going to cause a lot more trouble. Okay, computer here says knight e8 is still best, but even so, the queen is definitely just superior on e2 than e1, even in this position. And there are some positions in which the knight would want to go to h5, and it's just better to keep those off the agenda. So queen e2, castles, I play e5. Apparently that's a mistake. Wow, that's interesting. That honestly makes sense because I ended up not getting like that simple an attack here. And if by playing e5, I am sort of like determining the course of the structure, right? As long as I keep these pawns like this, he's not even sure if I'm going to advance e5 or f5. Yeah, bishop e3 makes a lot more sense. King h1. What does it like? King h1, rook a e8, bishop e3, and we're just going to load up and eventually play e5. Like in an ideal situation, we would do this, get the bishop back, and now, okay, well, yeah, sorry. We don't want to do this here. We're going to play queen f3 first just to make sure e4 doesn't hang. But then later we're going to bring our rook to e1. Computer is saying put the f rook on e1, which is interesting. Okay, actually, long story short, I'm looking at the computer evaluations and the computer lines. I'm realizing I'm completely misunderstood this. If we're playing for e5, we should be playing for the attack here, though, because we've given up on playing e5 that soon. Instead, we're going to just be playing to target the d pawn. So computer really likes the idea of doubling up on the d file, aiming at the d pawn, planning a proper knight e2, maybe knight g3 to help support the e4 pawn, which could potentially become weak, and eventually just ganging up on the d pawn and winning it. If we're able to win the d pawn, then the game is just going to be over, right? Because once we win the d pawn, we can push e5, kick the knight out in peace, and break through on h7 and break through with an attack. All right, so I played e5. That is astounding that that's a mistake, though. I would have assumed that white still looks like he has a great position, so it's shocking to me that that's bad. But technically speaking, yeah, those other positions that we were looking at would be even better for white. King h1, nice. G4 is also, dude, G4 is a wild move, man. You can't expect me to play G4. What is the point of G4? That is wild. G4, what? Takes? Okay, and I guess I can play my knight to f5, and if he ever takes with the bishop, I can take with the pawn. I guess that's the idea. I think King h1 is completely sound, though. I don't agree with the chess.com computer. I think King h1 is just a better move. I would bet that 9 out of 10 grandmasters agree that King h1 is the best move in this position. So takes, f takes, knight e6 is a big mistake. And what was I thinking about here? I was really looking, what was it, knight f5? Yeah, we have to play knight f5. What did he do? Bishop c5. And yeah, okay, can we analyze this? Was knight h6 good? I really wanted to play this, but yeah, takes, queen e4, f5, takes, and I didn't like rook f7. I didn't see what I had after rook f7. Nice. That's beautiful. Look at that. I made the right call here. I really wanted to sacrifice, but it just doesn't work. Played queen e4. Queen e4 makes a lot of sense. Computer saying knight a4. Bizarre. Knight a4, that's a very deep move, honestly. That is a beautiful move. Idea of knight a4 is very interesting. So on one hand, it just wants to be able to take here to deflect the knight away from the safety of the king. And in those positions, it's going to get way worse. Another idea is also that if we take, knight takes, our knight's going to come into e7, and after king h8, bishop h7, and queen h5, and there's the classic, what is that, the Anastasia mate? There's some type of like famous name for that type of checkmate, where you put the knight on e7, and then you take on h7, and you checkmate with the queen. All right, yeah, knight a4, and yeah, that's just, look at that, that's just kicking the bishop out of e7. How are computers recommending bishop c8? Because they have to keep coverage over e7. That's wonderful. But now we can take, and now does the idea work? Here, takes, bishop takes, and yeah, because this knight is farther away, the attacks are so much stronger. Knight g7, and what here? Just takes? That's interesting. Queen e3 is best. Queen e3, we're attacking the knight, going to play queen g3. If he plays knight e6, I would assume queen d3. Queen e4 is even better, and yeah, we're going to break through here. Notice his knight's moved from e8, so now if he plays f5, he does not have any support over this, and he's going to be losing here. This is interesting. Okay, anyway, in the game I played queen e4, g6, threw in a check, played knight g4. Apparently knight a4 is still best. That's very interesting. That's beautiful, honestly. Is that what I think it is? Bishop a7, are we just going back to f5? What is this? Okay, apparently now because we pushed the bishop away, because the bishop is no longer covering these squares, knight takes f7 works here. Oh, interesting. And bishop h6. I didn't see that. Bishop h6 is beautiful. Look at that. King takes, rook takes. Playing for mate, this is relatively simple, right? Like, there are just too many pieces around black's king, and black only has two knights that are sort of defending things. The queen and rook and bishop are going to win that 100% of the time. I'm wondering, though, after king g8, what is the idea here? Takes, throw in a check. Can't go to e7 because we're going to have queen h4. If they go to g8, now we play queen f3, and yeah, look at that. The bishop isn't covering f8 here. We're just threatening queen f8 with checkmate. They have no way to stop it. Computer is saying knight f4 is their best move, just to sacrifice a knight. I have a lot of questions here, honestly. Like, if they have to give up a knight here, how are they not getting mated? Apparently, though, it's only +6. Yeah, I guess they're going to do this and play bishop f5, and somehow they've buffered in time. But we got our piece back. We're also going to get a few pawns here. This is completely winning. Computer's also pointing out that we could be even more greedy and play g4 here. The bishop still can't move because we're going to have queen f8. All right, that's very nice. Anyway, I didn't see any of that, so I just played knight g4, threatening bishop h6. Most importantly, though, I do want to emphasize, as long as we can stop them from playing f5, they're not going to be able to deter our e5 pawn, and as long as the e5 pawn stays on the board, we should have attacking chances here, because it just gives us so much more space than they have on the king side. So king h8, bishop h6. Apparently this is inaccurate. What's the computer want? Bishop e3. Interesting. That's super principled chess. Look at that. Just the idea is takes. We're going to invade with the queen and then play knight f6. And yeah, this is honestly theoretically sound, right? Because they have a ton of weaknesses on the dark squares here. We should be trading the bishops. I just assumed that this bishop was not doing anything on the dark squares, but actually, yeah, if we just trade this off, our queen gets a golden ticket to h6, so that's beautiful. Yeah, this is a great position. All right, so I played bishop h6, knight g7, knight f6, and yeah, the game should just be over here. Man held on valiantly though. Knight takes h7 is good. What is the best move here? Bishop f4 is much better. I should have seen bishop f4. Yeah, we're just eyeing this. They play knight h5, we can just take, and something like e6 is going to win on the spot here. There's just way too much pressure. Bishop is threatening to come to e5. He can't play bishop d6 because we have check here, and at least I can take this. This is even better though. Look at that. f8 queen is becoming an idea. If he takes here, we're going to have some type of checkmate. Anyway, yeah, so just everything is hanging here. I took, he played this, I played knight g5. Rook takes f7 is technically more accurate according to the computer, but dude, this position looked really complicated. Computer's saying I can just play knight g5 here, man. Oh, knight g5 is beautiful. Look at that. I was afraid of knight g3 because the idea here is if king h2, I'm getting into trouble now. Already now I'm the one who's losing here. Knight, oh, that's beautiful. Look at that. Knight f3 takes and knight h2. I'm getting mated. But yeah, I could just sack the queen here, which is really nice. Takes, and I'm going to mate. I did not see that. I didn't realize I could play knight g5 here when he's threatening knight g3. Okay, so instead, though, what happened? So I just played knight g5. Man played bishop f5. I took, rook takes. It's the end of the game. Bro has really nothing to do. I was a little afraid of takes, rook takes f7, and something like rook f8 here, because I didn't see an immediate win. I saw that I could at least win some material back with bishop takes f8. This is probably what I was going to do. I was going to do something like takes, maybe knight e6 here. We have to be very careful, though, right? Because he's going to take here, and all of a sudden he's threatening some things. What is computer pointing out? Oh, he could take here. What? Takes, and then what? Bishop e7 and my queen is trapped, so that's bananas. Look at that. My queen has nowhere to go. e4 is going to get forked. It's insane stuff. Anyway, yeah, wait, I'm a little confused, though. If he plays rook f8, where is the simple win here? I just check. Oh, I could check here. I didn't see that. That's a beautiful move. Look at that. Because takes, I just take here, and I still have mate. He's still not in time. And so no, after check, if he goes back, well, now I just take. Is taking not good? What did the computer want? I thought the computer wanted me to take. Yeah, taking makes so much sense. We're undermining the knight. If knight moves, the queen is finally going to get access. He has no way to threaten that much in time. If he wants, he can take a rook. Probably I have to watch out for rook f1. Like if takes here, maybe, yeah, all of a sudden now I'm getting mated. This is banana stuff, honestly. Takes here, where's the mate? Yeah, rook f2 and queen e1 is going to be checkmate. All right. So what should I do instead, though? Bishop g7. Beautiful move. Bishop g7, knight is pinned, has to go here, and now we could just play bishop f6 with a discovered check. Knight goes here, and that is mate. All right. Yeah, the way the game ended, he played bishop f5. I took, he took, I took, he took, and I take here. Queen finally is broken through on the h-file. The game is just completely over here. Computers, what's the computer want? Rook g6, but this is just completely over. There's nothing to do here. I could just come here and take this piece, for instance. Computer wants to be really fancy, though. Look at this. Check here, and then what? Bishop d6 is beautiful. Look at that. Takes. My pawn is digging in here. Now if his queen takes, I have queen h7 and queen takes f7. If queen d7 instead, I can check and mate anyway with the pawn here. All right, so yeah, the game is just over here. Bro took. I took. I'm going to go here, and finally I checkmated. That was a really nice game. Really lovely game. Thanks for watching.
It's time to go!